story of the Magi this morning. But someone once had the thought, they pondered the thought, they said, just imagine that first Christmas night, instead of wise men, it would have been wise women. How much different the story would have been. Okay. Here's how we go. The wise women would have asked for directions and made it to Bethlehem on time. Helped with the delivery, cleaned up the stable, made a decent meal, and brought some practical gifts. It would have been a lot different. Like I said, we're going to look at the story of the Magi this morning. And with that, I'm going to show you through their story how you can have the best Christmas ever. See, the Magi, they had superb knowledge of math, science, astronomy, history, agriculture, and also the occult. Historians believe that you didn't become a king in Persia without a mastery of scientific and religious disciplines of the Magi, and approved and crowned by them also. The prophet Daniel, he dealt with the Magi when he was in Babylon. And it's probably there where the Magi, and the reason why the Magi were looking for this king of the Jews, probably because of the interaction with Daniel. You know the thing about the story of Daniel? Daniel, he was exalted pretty high, not only in the Babylonian Empire, but the Medo-Persian Empire. He had a lot of influence. And of course, he was a wise man himself, but he was the chief of them. Like I said, it's believed that, again, the reason why that the wise men of the East would have been looking for the king of the Jews because all the influence that Daniel and even Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all of them would have had on them as wise men or magi. But in Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12, let's read the account of this, and then we'll dive into the thought here this morning. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him." King Herod, was deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem. He called a meeting of the leading priests and teachers of religious law and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" "In Bethlehem of Judah," they said, "for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem in the land of Judah, are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. A ruler will come from you who will be the shepherd of my people Israel." Then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared. Then he told them, "Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child, and when you find him, come back and tell me so that I can go and worship him too." After this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. And it went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. Now just understand, that's an amazing thing right there. And when they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. And they opened their treasure chest and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And when it was time to leave, they returned to their country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod. And I have to notice that the wise men were satisfied with their Christmas, because it tells us that when they saw him and the star rested with him, they rejoiced. They were greatly filled with joy when they realized that they had found who they were coming to find. So how can you have the best Christmas ever? By pursuing the things of Christmas that can't disappoint you. Here's two things we want to look at to help you have a better than usual Christmas. The first thing we can do is seek the right thing. The first thing you need to do to have the best Christmas ever, and to have it each and every year, is to seek the right thing. What do you want out of Christmas? What would make it wonderful? What would make it the best Christmas ever? Snow, the family happy and together, holiday spirit, finding the perfect present, getting the perfect present. What would make it the best Christmas ever? Would these things? See, we've all have been disappointed by Christmas because it didn't deliver what we were looking for. We were expecting this and that. Again, I remember, how many of us as a child remember the anticipation of Christmas? You just, as your parents wrapped the gifts and placed them on the tree. Again, I don't know if you were raised where the gifts didn't go to the tree till Christmas Eve, or if they were put around the tree ahead of time, and you sort of had to sit there and just sort of look at all those wrapped things and go, and you look at them and you look through and see if the name, if this one box of a certain size and shape had your name on it, because it was, you're like, maybe, because growing up, I loved train sets and I loved race car sets. I loved them. I'd love to, my thing is I would sort of mess around with them. I would get a train set, hook it up, have the power pack hooked up to it, and I'd say, well, I wonder what will happen if I hook up another power pack to it. See, I was 10 the tool man before 10 the tool man ever existed. So I would crank up the one, get the train going. Let's see what the other one does when I turn it on. All of a sudden, that train started going faster. And I'm like, I wonder what a third power pack would be.
More power.
You know, those anticipation things. It got to a point I actually found one, I went to a hobby store and I found where I could find the type of racetrack that I've had and the type of train track I had. They actually made a track that intersect. They had a racetrack to go this way and a train track came this way. So of course, you know what was going through my mind. Let's get the timing down. Let's have the two meet at that point and see what happens. I won't go any further with that. But just, you know, the anticipation of Christmas. And I remember as a child sometimes, you know, really looking at this. And then, you know, sometimes, I don't know if you did this as a child. I can say this now because I can't get in trouble with my parents because both my parents have passed away, so they can't come back and say, David, I would sneak a peek inside those presents. Don't look at me. I know you all did the same thing too. But the thing is, you know, even though, and if all of a sudden I found out what, but come to find out, it took away from the excitement of Christmas because I didn't have the initial surprise. Unfortunately, you don't learn that to actually do that. But you know, but many times when we think this is what would make the best Christmas ever. See, again, we've all been disappointed by Christmases before because they didn't deliver because we weren't what we were looking for, because in all honesty, we were looking for the wrong thing. See, Christmas wasn't the problem. It was our expectations. We were looking for the wrong things. See, the wise men show us how to make Christmas and every other the best ever by showing us the right thing to look for. So again, I'm talking, what is the first thing we can do? Seek the right thing. In verse chapter 2 of Matthew 2, it says, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him." The wise men came to Jerusalem looking for an opportunity to worship Jesus. They were seeking an opportunity to worship the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. The wise men not only looked for the right thing, they also looked in the right place. In other words, somehow they got their hands on some writings talking about this one being born, and that's where they went to. So they found out what God's word had to say about it, and they went searching for him. Because we're reading in verses 5 and 6, it says, "In Bethlehem in Judea, they said, for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem in the land of Judah, are not the least among the ruling cities of Judah, for a ruler will come out of you who will be a shepherd for my people Israel." If you're looking for satisfaction from family, snow, presents, the perfect meal, you will more than likely walk away disappointed. Again, and here's the thing, they may fulfill some things for a while. Again, I love having the family around. But though these holidays are more than just having this kind of stuff, it's more than just having the right type of meal. You know, having a meltdown on either Thanksgiving or Christmas because the ham and the turkey got messed up. Those aren't the important things of those things. I know, you know, some of us are sticklers and we want this stuff. Yes, we all want it to go right, but that is not what makes the holiday. That is not what makes it the best thing. That's not what it's all about. But we'll walk away feeling disappointed. It's like there's a story of a middle-aged woman. She decided, she says, you know what, I'm not going to make a particular list this year. So she wrote a note, she hung it on the refrigerator where her husband could see it. She says, all I want for Christmas this year, just buy me something that will make me look sexy. And put it on the refrigerator door. Husband saw it. Christmas rolled around, and she was expecting to go downstairs, and she was thinking, I wonder what kind of dress he got me, maybe what kind of lingerie, you know, something that will make me look sexy. She came downstairs, and in front of the tree was an exercise bike. Sometimes you better be very specific about your gifts and things. As you can say, she became very disappointed at Christmas. But again, seek the right thing, which is an opportunity to worship. Seek for it at the right place, in the presence of Jesus, and you won't be disappointed. See, that is what the wise men found, because it's when they found him and they worshiped him that they rejoiced. Their joy was found in finding this one who was born the King of the Jews. And the same thing with us. If you're looking to have the best Christmas ever, you better make sure Jesus is the center of it. And you better make sure that you're worshiping him, because if not, your Christmas is going to be disappointing. It will not fulfill your complete expectations. Because right now, since the beginning of November, they sometimes show it in July. You know what? Christmas in July. What are they showing at those times? What are they showing right now? If you have the Hallmark Channel or Lifetime, they have Christmas movies out the wazoo. They're going 24/7. Yep. And I'm going to say this. No disrespect to them, I'm going to tell you, if you've seen one, you'll pick the rest up. Yeah. But hey, again, I was talking about Amanda and Jordan this morning. I said, but the thing is, at least they're wholesome, they're fun to watch, they're clean to watch. You don't have to worry about what you're going to hear. So even though I still don't give them a hard time that way, still. But again, we need to seek the right thing, an opportunity to worship, and seek for it in the right place, which is in the presence of Jesus, and you won't be disappointed. But let's be honest, seeking the right things are great, but what is Christmas without gifts? What is Christmas without gifts? Which leads us to the second thing you can do, is give the right thing. Let's give the right thing. See, the Magi came to Jesus' house with gifts. The gifts were appropriate for this occasion. But here's an interesting thought. Think about this. The wise men came to worship, and a part of their worship included giving. And again, I know we're talking about Christmas, but you want me to tell you how to have the best church experience ever? To make sure that your church service lives up to expectations. To make sure that your Christian walk lives up to expectations. How to have the best Christmas walk ever. It is to give the right thing. It is about gifts. But let's look at their gifts this morning, real briefly. Gold was a gift for a king, because Jesus was and is the king. Frankincense was a gift for a priest. It was used in ceremonies. Jesus is a priest that brings us to God. Myrrh was a gift for the dead. Fragrant ointment that was used to anoint a body before burial. Jesus had come to die for the sins of the world. So myrrh was appropriate. That they covered everything who he is in these gifts that they gave. So, but they brought appropriate gifts. They brought the right gifts. But again, I love how it says that. You know, when they came to worship him, a part of that worship was that they brought gifts. But something I want you to understand this morning. The gifts we give God, and I'm going to touch that here this morning about the best gift we can give, and we hit it in our opening video. But the greatest gift giver of all time was who? Was God. The greatest gift giver of all time was God. Why? Let's understand this. Because if our greatest need had been information, God would have sent an educator. If our greatest need had been technology, God would have sent us a scientist or a geek. Especially in today's terms, right? If our greatest need would have been money, God would have sent us an economist. If our greatest need would have been pleasure, God would have sent us an entertainer. But our greatest need was forgiveness. That was the greatest need we all had. So God sent us a Savior. God set the example in giving properly as the Magi did. So we ought to give an appropriate gift this Christmas. And again, and I'm not talking about material gifts. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about a gift that is far more important than money, than materials, than a train set, than a refrigerator, than an exercise bike. What kind of gift am I talking about? How about showing love and kindness to your family and friends? How about helping the hurting? How about forgiving those who have hurt you? In other words, give the right thing. Giving these kinds of gifts result in a joyous and meaningful Christmas with no disappointments. It'll make it the best Christmas ever. When we can truly go in and repair relationships, make things new, those are never disappointing. But many times we must be the instigator of it. We must be the initiator in that thing. We must be willing to let go of past things and do this stuff. We must be willing to think beyond ourselves and to give to others. There's a story I have here I want to read. And it says this. It says, Chad was a young, shy outcast. At the end of the school day, when other children would walk home together, Chad was left to himself. For this reason, his mother was deeply concerned when Chad told her he wanted to make Christmas cards for every child in his class. Nevertheless, she purchased all the supplies for him to fulfill his desire. With paper and glue and crayons, Chad spent 3 weeks making 35 Christmas cards. On the morning of the class party, Chad was overflowing with excitement. He carefully collected all of his Christmas cards and headed out for school. But his mother was not so enthusiastic. She knew her son might not receive a single card and wondered if he could handle that level of hurt. To compensate for the pain, she baked his favorite cookies and had them ready when he walked through the door. The afternoon silence was broken by the sound of children walking down the street. As usual, the other kids were laughing as they were walking together, and Chad was all by himself. She noticed his hands were empty, and tears started to fill her eyes. When the door opened, she choked back the emotions and said, "Mommy has some warm cookies and milk for you." He barely heard a word. His face was glowing, and his chest was about to burst with pride as he said, "Not a one. Not a one. I did not forget a one. Not a single one." The greatest joy in life is reserved for those who are more interested in giving than receiving. The best gift this Christmas you can give is yourself. You know, when you read that story again, he had the attitude right. He wasn't looking to see what he could get from somebody else. He just wanted to bless his classmates. And he was excited that he didn't forget one single one of them. See, and I guarantee you, as I was reading this story, many of us were thinking about how she noticed he didn't have any cards. And we're thinking, oh dear Lord, what's going to go in this junk mind? But he had the attitude that we need to have. It's about the joy of giving, not receiving. Like I said, and that is the best gift this Christmas you can give is yourself. It is yourself. So in closing, again, how can you have the best Christmas ever? As I told you, seek the right thing. Find an opportunity to worship Jesus. Give the right thing. And this sometimes can be the hardest thing of all. Give yourself. Jenny was talking about a little bit earlier. Jenny was talking about it earlier. Talking about sometimes we allow ourselves to become so busy, so weighed down with things. And I don't know if you heard me say when I looked at Juana, probably said it too, she was saying that we use busy as an acronym, B-U-S-Y, for meaning bound under Satan's yoke. The enemy loves to keep us busy, even busy about church things. Busy for the sake of being busy doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do the kingdom of God any good. All it does is bind you down to where you truly cannot be the child of God He desires you to be. So this Christmas season, let's clear out the clutter. Let's get rid of the busyness. Let's stop being busy and truly take time to find time to worship the Lord. And in doing so, we can give Him ourselves. Because that's what He desires most of all in the first place. Again, as the opening video tells us, you know, what could we honestly, besides ourselves, what could we offer the God of the universe? He owns it all. He controls it all. He has it all. We can't necessarily tell Him what a great job He's done, because He already knows it. It's a little hard to flatter someone who's the greatest of all greats. The only thing we do is say, Lord, the only thing I can give you is me. Worship Him and offer Him yourself. I hope you decide to pursue the things of Christmas that can't disappoint you. Seeking satisfaction in snow, family presents, they will not deliver. But seeking to worship Jesus comes through every time. Giving things that have a big price tag, moving parts, wrapped in huge bows, don't last. Giving yourself through love, kindness, forgiveness, lasts a lifetime. Amen. I'm asking some musicians to come. And again, you know, I know this month started last Sunday. But I know sometimes, you know, Christmas is tough. Especially if you have family members who have recently passed away, or they haven't passed away too long ago. Christmas time brings up those memories of not having those individuals present anymore. But I'm here to tell you, you still can have the best Christmas ever. Because it's all, if you truly seek the right thing, and you give the right thing, it will result in having a Christmas that will lead up to expectation. I'm trying to. Something's still awful loud there. I guess the thing is, do you take the main, because the very last one, just pull the main back a little bit. We'll see if that sort of helps. May not, but we'll see. Or turn me down a little bit. I'm just trying to figure this out here. Something's picking up something. But I know God desires for you to have the best Christmas ever. Like I said, through what the wise men taught us, we can have this best Christmas ever. And as always in everything in life, it centers, I like that what is best, it centers around Jesus. Like I said many times, this may be a tough time of year because of not having loved ones around. They're missing this year. But we know someone who is the one who is of all comfort and all peace. The one who will come down and wrap his loving arms around you during this time. And actually, not only get you through this time, but help you to see the joy of this time of year, because that's what Jesus came to do. He came, He brought joy, He brought hope. And that's what we need to get our eyes focused on. It's not about the stuff, it's not about the food. It's about Him. And the more we keep Jesus in the center of Christmas and about Christmas, the more we can truly love our family, the more we can truly enjoy this time of year, because that's what this season's all about. It's about the hope that came, about the mercy and love that came. That is the reason of Christmas. So I want you to experience that like never before this year. Let's get back to a life at a time of focusing on Jesus, keeping Him the center for the reason for the season. Amen. And to do that, we have to be willing to give Him ourselves. That's the best gift we can give. So we have this song playing this morning that this is my desire. And I pray it's your desire to have this Christmas the best ever. And the best way you can do that is by giving yourself to Jesus, by worshiping Him, coming to Him and just making it all about Him. And drawing everyone into that. And just offering yourselves to Him. Let Him come down and just fill your life with that hope and joy that He brings. Amen. Will you stand with me this morning? Let's just sing this song to Him. And as we were ministering this morning, and maybe even so far, I know it's a little bit early in the Christmas season, maybe things aren't going the way that you thought they would go, or this or that. I'm here to tell you, get your eyes off of the things that are going wrong. Get your eyes focused on Him and let Him come in and truly give you the best Christmas ever. Because I'm telling you, whenever God gets involved, whenever Jesus gets involved in a situation, you turn it over to Him and you leave it in His capable hands. He's able to take it, because Romans 8:28 tells us what? We know that all things work together for the good of them that love God and are the called according to His purpose. So no matter and if you're having a great year this year, make it even better by keeping Jesus in the center of it. Amen? And offering again yourself to Him afresh and anew. So let's sing to Him this morning. Sing this and say, this is my desire,